Your boy Jay Jeezer, the woman pleaser, is back, and I'm excited as we have an all-new UFC 5 update. Let's get right into it. As you can see here, we have big roster update, 30 new fighters. Significant, it will be dropping tomorrow. Let's get into it. We committed to you we would work to you to get as many ranked and fan favorite fighters into the UFC as swiftly as possible. Since launch, we have added 11 new fighters to the game, and over the next 3 months, we will be significantly increasing the roster updates based on your feedback. Alright, talk to me. Between April and June, we will introduce our over 30 additional fighters to EA Sports, reach 98% parity with the current UFC top 10 athlete rankings. That was big. I did see MMA Junkie did a blog on that. That's what we've been waiting for. Our first significant roster update is on tomorrow, April 4th, ahead of UFC 300, followed by subsequent additions in May and June. With this week's update, we'll be adding 9 additional roster fighters. From the surging newcomer Diego Lopez and his explosive submissions to his highly anticipated additional of JF Hands of Steel Neal and his fight-ending strikes. You can see all the fighters there. We're getting about 9, 10 hella fighters in April. I don't want to mess up any names. Brandon Allen, Marino Rodriguez, Mohamed Mokaev, all these ranked fighters, Sergey Spivak, and there I go, GF Neal, Umar Nurmagomedov, Tracy Cortez, Diego Lopez. This is going to be good. And then again late, we're getting Manuel Cape, MVP, as soon as he just fought, Drew Dober, and Min May, BSD, Benoit St. Denis, Anthony Hernandez in June. More Lupe Gondinas. We just saw her fight. It's going to be about time we're going to be able to use all these fighters that's going to be on these cards, that's ranked that we always wished. Alexander. I don't want to mess up any more names, as I said. Chris Curtis fighting this Saturday. That's going to be nice. Maybe I have to use her. Kayla Harrison coming over. Joaquin Buckley, Randy Brown, Michael Pereira. The exact timing of the fighters may change. Please know, after incorporating these additional fighters, we intend to return to our normal update cadence of introducing 2 to 3 fighters with each pass and ensuring that the gaming roster remains up to date with the current UFC athlete rankings. Thank you. Let's delve into the noteworthy gameplay updates. We've tuned stamina recovery between rounds, adjusted evasion properties while ducking, and rebalanced the speed and power for various strike types. The grappling and ground game has been updated with notable changes to the range and speed of double and single leg takedowns entries, and we have increased the short-term stamina cost for muscle modified transitions, among a slew of other adjustments that you can check out below. Oh yeah, we're about to right now. That's good, because before all I was seeing was the updates about the new fighters, and I was like, they're calling this a patch. What? Nice. Talk to me. Now I'm listening. Patch launch date, time and launch. April 4th at 10 a.m. Pacific. Marino Rodriguez, you can see the thing right there. New fighters. Striking, reduce striking between rounds by around 20%. That's nice, because you guys know I like to attack the body, and then usually you guys will see their stamina's down, and the next thing they recover. I'm less like wow, it's like the body works pointless. Sometimes it's good. After the previous increases in stamina cost for blocked, missed, and evaded strikes, we saw that stamina seemed to be in good place at the end of the first round, but that fighters could recover too much going into round 2. This new reduction to the recovery between rounds hits the recovery going to the second round the hardest, and should also make a noticeable difference across many rounds for fights that go to this distance. Despite being listed in the striking section, this change applies to between round stamina recovery as a whole, not just from striking. Good note. Improve the evasive properties of the stationary duck. It starts up as a reduced by 1 frame. This is when a lot of motion happens as the fighter lowers their head. It should reduce cases of strikes unnaturally, aiming down at the opponent's jaw. they duck already quite low, and this will particularly benefit shorter fighters. When fighters have the same height or are taller than the opponent, this new extra frame won't benefit them as much, though it will still help. The appendages will no longer go down to their shin and will instead hit the top of their head, keeping a pleasurable art plausible. This will deal a lot less damage and won't cause a hit stun. This mitigation mechanic is new, but wasn't coming into play much given the previous theme. Improve the evasive properties for advancing and retreating ducks. We like to see them fixing tracking. This change had a similar purpose but different details in the case of those ducks. That's what it sounded like. With footwork, the issue wasn't the startup time to the evasion window, but the evasion window had a gap in the middle of it. That happened right when your head was very low. We have closed this gap, and now these moving ducks should behave as one would expect. No more roundhouse tracking into your head super low and retreat with a duck. Slow down the haymaker execution. The execution means how long it takes from the starting the attack to landing it. Obviously, that kind of makes sense. These are the fastest values. Fighters who are slower or are from heavier weight classes take more frames to make contact with the opponent. Even considering it shorter range, the haymaker was a little too fast from related to overhand. Execution from 22 to 24, so they upped it 2. Sped up the execution of the rear overhand. With both this and the haymaker's change, the overhand will become only 2 frames slower and continue to have a longer range. Increase the slap's base damage and damage scaling and sped up its execution. The slap was unnecessarily slow and didn't have any power scaling to increase its damage and based on power. Now it should hit more than twice as hard and be significantly faster. Let's see who can score more slap KOs. Looks like we gotta get in with that Nate Diaz work, huh? Base damage went from 5 to 75. Damage scaling went from 0 to 65. I think that does sound kind of high. Let me know. Execution 32 to 26. We get to see the comparison there between that and the overhand. Increase the stopping power from all leg kicks. We like that. Stopping power means how early in the opponent's strike's execution you need to hit them to interrupt them. The higher the stopping power of your strike, the later you can afford to hit the opponent and still interrupt them. Lead and rear leg kicks 20 to 30%. Lead and rear calf kicks 40 to 50%. Lead side kicks in the lead and oblique kick 60 to 80%. Made the cartwheel kick and the rolling thunder much easier to counter after blocking them. There is now simple time to punish these kicks after blocking them. However, timing your inputs and selecting the proper strikes with which to counter them still prove challenging, as the animations for getting after throwing the kick can naturally keep a head or torso out of reach. We recommend experimenting with potential counters in practice mode. You might be surprised. Reduce the cartwheel kick's block stun by 10 frames. Increase the time it takes to block after landing the cartwheel kick by 16 frames. Reduce the rolling thunder's block stun by 30. Increase the time it takes to roll in by 14 frames. That's all you know. Let's see what else. The rear hook's base damage 40 to 45. Cause I know there's like still some grappling stuff too. Increase the 720 spinning kick O'Malley's kick base damage and block bleed through. Sped up the lead front kick execution. I use the front kick a little bit. This should make it complete with the rear front kick, especially when advancing. Reduce the rear front kick's base damage and slow down its advancing execution. Increase the rear side kick's base damage. Maybe some easy players could use that. And here goes the grappling. Grappling changes. Significantly increase the range and speed of double legs and single legs. These takedowns, especially the double legs, felt like they didn't grab the opponent from far enough. They also had several dead frames at the beginning, which we could shave off to make them feel much smoother and more responsive. It should now be much more viable to shoot on opponents before they walk away, as well as timing your shots against incoming strikes or after the opponent misses. Watch out for these grapplers if you're a striker. Allow the single leg to morph into the low single leg when the opponent walks out of range. This should also further help with the issue of takedown range. Increase the short-term stamina cost of muscle-modified transitions by 50%. We hadn't have the cost in December patch. It was changed that helped with the problem of some positions in the ground game being too easy to hold. However, the cost reduction went too far, and escaping from positions such as the side control is reportedly too easy now. So we're bringing the cost to a value between the launch and the December patch cost. These are the multipliers that apply to the short-term stamina cost of the transitions. Please note that there is still a long-term cost multiplier on top of these, which haven't changed. There you can see the value. Allowed single under escapes to interrupt the dominant fighter's elbows. Made the AI's ground and pound strike selection more unpredictable. That's good. We like good AI. Lower the chance of the AI posturing up from the full guard and half guard. The AI was attempting those postures too frequently, and that's what I figured. Making the posture attempts predictable and easy to deny, as well as making the ground and pound from these riskier positions easy to reverse. Let's see what else they add before we get off. Added Aljamain Sterling to featherweight. Here we go. Career mode longevity attribute decay will now be affected by the chosen fighter. Style and over impact has now been reduced. Career mode fitness has been increased to allow users to get to peak fitness faster. And enabled vanity preview with the punch card when increase the main menu option. Updated walkout commentator for over 30 fighters. New vanity rewards and added. Like that's listed as miscellaneous, but it sounds like a whole new game if you ask me. Like walkout commentary. That. Not a lot of people probably watch that, but maybe they'll have new commentator. That gets repetitive and stuff. And then some career mode changes. So yeah, man, I'm back. I've been over on TikTok too, streaming every day. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. And let's go. Let me know what you guys think about these changes.